Well, there's been, 100 billion people that have ever lived. Chances are you haven't heard of a lot of them.
Yes, that is true. I wish I
don't know if it's that high. There was something that I read on the population counter. It said 106 billion people have ever lived. I think that's kind of high, but I don't know.
No, that's correct. Really? That's the figure I've always heard quoted.
It seems high, but I don't know.
They just did the math, and
does it work out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because modern humans are 2 million years old?
I mean, I guess you could literally do the math. It would literally be the area under the curve.
Yeah.
It is literally the area under the curve.
Yeah. Yep.
I should do the math and see how close it comes, and see what my figure comes out to.
You have to just figure out the function first.
Yeah, it's
not like the Gini coefficient.
It's exponential, more or less.
True. More or less. It's a very weird curve, because if we extrapolate it out to 2 million years, it looks like this.
And what does exponential look like?
Yeah.
More or less same thing.
True. Maybe I should emphasize more of a right term. A right.
Okay, so this equals this if we put a little in the timeline.
Okay. All right. Fair.
So that way this period can cover, say, 50,000 years.
Yeah. But modern humans, we're 2 million years old?
Well, so anatomically modern humans are like 50,000 years old.
50,000, okay.
Yeah, anatomically modern. But I don't know if that's when the first Homo sapien was born, per se. That I don't know. I should look that up.
Well, you certainly can.
This one?
No.
This one?
Yes. We're not recording it.
We're not recording?
No, we're just recording us.
Oh, I was like, what are we doing then?
Fucking around. No.
300,000 and 200,000. But this is what I was talking about. It says 3. Well, this is not at all what I heard.
Early modern.
Yeah, Cro-Magnon people. 50,000 years ago.
Oh, in Europe.
Oh, in Europe. Oh. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. In Europe.
So it is 300,000 years then.
So that's how long that time span is.
Okay. So not... 2 million must be when we left the trees.
Well, Lucy was 4 million years ago.
Oh.
But she was not a Homo sapien. She wasn't even the genus Homo.
Yeah, but she hadn't left the trees yet.
What?
She hadn't left the trees yet.
Well, she's bipedal.
Oh. Did she have the thumb feet though? Still?
I don't know. She was bipedal though. First. How many? 6 million.
6 million.
And Lucy's like 4.2 million. Australopithecus afarensis is what Lucy was.
Anyways, no, yeah, you extrapolate within 100 billion and 300,000 years.
Yeah.
Prolific little fuckers, aren't we? But I mean, truth be told, the population of like South America when the Spanish invaded, I think there were estimates putting it in like like 100 million, wasn't it?
And where?
In like South America when Columbus landed, weren't they? What was the population of South America?
I don't know.
They were putting it. It was put pretty high.
I think this is the.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So look, it's basically exponential. I don't know what's going on up here. Oh, this is when we reach our peak. We max out in population at 10.5 billion.
At projected growth rates of countries.
Well, it's basically this is how much people we could sustain before they start dying off due to, just disease and malnutrition and stuff. There is a maximum number of people.
Well, yeah, I know they have a carrying capacity, but I don't think 10 billion's the carrying capacity.
Well, that's what this chart suggests.
I thought this chart is more based off of the fact that by 2100 the human population will start to decrease, and that's not because people are starving, and that's strictly because of demographic transitions and countries developing and people being done having tons of children.
Well, I mean, kind of, but it is carrying capacity, I think, mainly.
I don't know, they've been talking about carrying capacity for literally centuries, and we've literally found a way around it every single time.
Well, that's because they're underestimating how much it really is. Because I've heard figures that typically, like, if we actually were very good at the most efficient way that we could rationalize food and, not wasting, tons of ingredients with, fast food and all that, we could support well over 14 billion. But what we currently do, America is like number one in terms of wasted food. It's brought that figure much at current, without having to change a thing, it's like 10, 11 billion.
Yeah, and also at current production.
But if we were to change a few things, we could definitely increase that another several billion, by eliminating some of the big waste factors. And, not overeating and, eat what your body needs.
Well, anyways.
And that's it.
Well, population...
Because if you eat what your body needs and not eating for, say, 2-3 people, then, obviously there's more people that could be around.
Well, anyways, population growth slowed for the first time in existence since, like, the Black Plague.
Yeah.
So, population growth actually slowed down. Because people are deciding to not have as many children.
Because of declining growth rates, it'll take over 200 years to double again. That's kind of crazy. Have you looked at the population growth just during the 20th century alone?
It's insane, yeah.
It went from 1.65 billion to 6 billion. It was crazy.
Oh, yeah.
It was like 1804 when we hit our first billion. And then, we hit 7 billion. What was that, 2011 or something? I remember they had a big old National Geographic article about that.
And then when we hit 8, everyone just kind of shrugged it off.
Yeah, it wasn't really that big of a... I remember looking at the counter when it crossed 8. Because I was like, oh, it's going to happen. Not this week, next week. And then it was just like, it wasn't really that much about it.
Well, that's because I don't think people are worried about us starving anymore.
Yeah.
We're actually genuinely concerned that we don't know what's going to happen. Because we're more concerned that population growth is going to stop, and that we do not know what the world will look like after that happens.
Yeah, here it is. 1804, we hit our first billion. 1930, we hit our second billion. 30 years later, 1960, we hit our third billion. 14 years later, 1974, we hit our fourth billion.
3 years later. No, sorry, a decade later. Exactly 1 decade, 10 years. No, sorry. I can't read today.
13 years, we hit number 5.
11.
And then 11, we hit 6 billion. And then 12 years later, we hit 7 billion. So
it slowed
and
down
then
there.
Another 12 years later, we hit 8 billion. But now they're saying 2022, so 15 years later, well, in 2037, we'll hit 9 billion. That's what they predict. I had another chart in here that was really interesting too. Oh yeah, they have it by religion too. Oh yeah, here it is. Yeah, 50,000 BC, yeah, 50,000 years ago. That's when they started counting.
106.
106 billion people have ever lived, have ever been born. That's what they predict. Oh, is this the source? PRB.
What is PRB?
Oh, PRB.org. That's their source. YouTube video. Kind of curious now. I'm sure they put a lot of math into it.
I'm sure. Very interesting.
Yes.
Close.
Earth 3D view?
No! Please don't!
Click on
it's not your computer to infect with malware.
What do you mean?
What do you mean, what do I mean?
Earth 3D view sounds
You're going to have to if you infect it with malware, you're going to go unplug everything and get it clean.
This sounds like a legitimate thing.
No, it's not! Never click on anything ever recommended to you on any ad ever. It's more than likely a scam.
YouTube just one big ad? Actually, it kind of is a scam. It's a scam of all my free time.
That's your thought.
YouTube is a big giant scam. It sucks all my free time away.
Well, anyways. Oh yeah, that's true. You just gotta do the calculus, right? And you'll figure out how many people have ever lived ever.
I should. Others have estimated it as low as 45 billion and as high as 125 billion. But most estimates are within 90 to 110. So I think if that's the case, then 106 is fair. It just seems a big giant number, but I guess.
But I mean, think about, okay, we hit 6 billion. How many people have died, we can figure, what percentage of that was just in the last century? And those numbers are pretty conclusive.
Yeah.
So.
What is the oldest person? That means every person. It's always kind of weird to think about the oldest person. Because, every person that was alive when they were born is gone.
Yep. Sad.
Kind of sad to think about. Every person that was alive when they were born is now gone.
That's their problem.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate for them.
All the doctors that were there, parents, majority of their friends.
All their friends.
Oh, they might have had a friend that's a couple years younger than them.
Oh, and they coincidentally are the second oldest person in the world.
Not saying that hasn't happened. Or they make friends with another old person.
I'll have to share
a lot of their younger friends.
I'll have to share the story after the podcast. It's about a customer.
Oh, yeah?
That we looked up their age and we're just like...
What is... Oldest living. 116. 1908. Basically every person born before 1908.
Yeah. What's the oldest person ever?
I think it's still 122. They died in 97 or 98.
Interesting, we haven't had anybody live longer than them yet.
122. They died in 97. I've read too much about this. I'm sorry.
I see. It's interesting that we haven't had anybody live longer.
Yeah. Born in 1875.
Wow.
Oh, and she was Japanese, so that should tell you something.
Well, it seems like a lot of people...
There is something called... What is it? Is it...
It's that mercury.
No. What is it? Is it blue countries? How do they... It's like blue nations. longevity. Is it blue? Blue zones. Blue zones are regions of the world where people claim to live exceptionally long lives beyond the age of 80. And there is a graph of this.
That's just the world.
Well, that's not the one. Where's my... I'm going to exit out of this. Oh, there we go. There was a graph. Like a world map that was like color-coded. Maybe it was just like... Well, maybe it was like this. No, that's not the one. This'll do fine. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places, and they've sent people down there to just kind of figure out, like, you know, how they live their lives or whatever, and it's very low stress.
Oh, I'm sure.
Very low stress lives. People just kind of just coasting through life, enjoying every moment that comes to them, you know. And yeah, it's very interesting hearing about their lives, you know.
Stress is a killer.
It is.
Stress.
It is. It's very interesting to hear how laid back they are, and how much they take out of, you know, just each day that comes to them, you know. California, Costa Rica, Italy, Greece, Japan.
I think it's
it's a very specific part of California.
The Loma Linda, California one is the oddball out of all of these. Yeah. I think that one they might have just immigrated there.
Well, I think the U.S. wanted to try to find a place in the U.S. to say, like, hey, look, we're special too.
I'm shocked it's not like Florida or
yeah. Yeah, there's been all these studies on there, too.
Interesting.
Blue zones, if you want to look it up.
To be a century old.
Yeah.
That's crazy, though. If you live to be 100, there are very few people older than you. Although there's more and more people every year that are living to be over 100.
I bet are they calculating that? How many... Like, do they have to, like, is that a figure that they actually know, or is that one that they have to estimate?
Well, I mean, if you take the U.S., developed countries know exactly how many people over 100 there are, but in less developed countries, it's hard to say.
In the U.S., 2021 records show that in a population of 336 million, there are around 89.7 thousand centurions.
Wow. 89,000 centurions.
0.27%.
Yeah, but 89, you could fill up Memorial Stadium with that.
It's double. That is crazy, yeah. You could fill an entire Memorial Stadium of just people over 100.
That's a lot. They wouldn't fit. They'd all be on oxygen, and
by 2050, it'll make up 0.01% of the population
of the world.
I don't know.
I'm assuming that's the world, because that's less than what it is now. Which is, I mean, it makes sense. Literally, our generation is the first generation where it's projected that we will live shorter than the previous generation.
Yeah, but then what is it? They always have those National Geographic issues like, oh, this baby will live to be 140.
If they live, well, yeah. I mean, it's weird, right? So the average people will live shorter, but the record will be longer.
See, it's interesting. We have made more ways to kill ourselves, but at the same time, we have more opportunities to extend your life.
Yeah.
We have better ways to extend your life, but at the same time, we have an immense amount of ways to kill yourself.